There's even a teacher who said that I'll never make it in life. And then he said, when I go, he was called Mr. Labi. He said, when I go to, I remember he said in JSS that when I go to secondary school, I'm going to be beaten up by seniors so much that it's going to affect me. And he knows that I'm not going to make it in life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I still think about that.
Every now and then when I'm even talking to some of my old housemates, they laugh and they see me and they're like, "Oh, Mr. Labi should see you by now. Oh, Miss Finn should see you by now." All the things they said about you, because and I think it just comes back to how kids were raised then, or even
Yeah.
schools are a bit different now.
Yeah.
Their understanding of different temperaments and stuff,
Yeah.
and they understand that kids build character based on how extreme they are or how calm they are. But then, and maybe I don't want to blame them, but then they were programmed in a way that like all kids are supposed to be
A certain way.
a certain
Yeah.
way. So if you are a bit off that path, they just feel like you're troublesome, you're trouble, you're a disgrace, you can't make it anywhere.
Right.
And they ring it in your head so much that you think that
It's true.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome to Truly Talkative Podcast. I'm your host, Eno Quagren. I thought I knew like 100%.
98%.
What is this?
There's a reason for everything, but there's not a justification for everything.
No, let me start going where I'm coming from.
That day is like I'm playing and they come here. Come here. Yes, you.
Hi and welcome back to Truly Talkative. Today I have two amazing guests. They are siblings. They are Norvisi and Meister. That's what I call him, but Kafui. Okay, Kafui. Or Bernard. Okay. Okay.
Oh, Mr. Sukwe. known as Daddy.
So before we even get into the conversation, guys, go subscribe right now. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening, I keep saying watching. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're excited. So, hi guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Today, we are going to be discussing your childhood. You already know that. And I feel like when it comes to you, both of you, people don't really know a lot about you. I don't even think people know that you guys are siblings.
Oh, really?
No.
There's that.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think.
I think there are two groups. Like there's a group that knows me as his little sister, which can be very annoying.
Okay.
It's like you don't have an identity. Everywhere you go,
Baby
someone's
sister,
like,
it's
"Oh,
not little sister." Baby sister.
35. It's almost 35. How can I
I've
be?
still been here 2 years before.
It always reminds me. He reminded me at the door.
Wait, what's the age difference again? 2. Oh, okay.
Exactly 2.
I'm grown now. See my gray beard.
No, legit. I thought he was like way
Way
older.
older.
Yeah, I thought it was like, yeah. I thought he was like, yeah, at least 5.
Oh my god.
No, just
Wow.
2 years. Yeah, but I have a big.
just I'm white son, so I have more gray.
Great. Okay.
Great.
I'll give you that.
So they're like the people who everywhere I go, they're like, "Oh, I know you. I know your brother." So I'm like, "Okay." And then there are people too who are like, "Oh my god!" Like if they see like a photo of us, and they're like, how do you know each other?" Or there was even a time that people thought we were dating or something. I was
Because
like,
you don't look alike.
in my time. This boy. No. So so there are those two groups of.
Okay. Okay. So let's since he's the oldest, let's do that.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's move to you. I'm going to call you Meister because honestly, I don't think I can comfortably call you Kafui or Bernard.
No, feel free. What
Okay.
do you call me?
So yeah, let's talk about your childhood.
But I have a theory about my names.
Okay. What's your theory?
When you depends on what you call me, I know when you met me.
Ah, okay.
So when you call me Kafui, I know that you've been there from time.
Yeah.
When you call me Bernard, I know it's either school or work. When you call me Meister, I know you met me from
Social media, yeah. Exactly. Okay, nice. So are you just 2? Is it 2 siblings or you have older?
We have 3.
Okay.
I think my dad has had an extra football team or something. So
Okay.
how many more apart from? So 3 from my mom and my dad.
Okay.
Myself, her, and then we have an older brother who is 3 years older than me. 5
Okay.
years older than her. And then our niece, but she's our sister.
Oh, okay, nice. So your brother, he's the first, you're the second. So you're a middle child.
Yeah.
And then you're the last. Okay. How's it like being a middle child?
I think I'm a special middle child.
Okay, what does
I
that
think
mean?
most middle children, they forget them at some point. But my mother clearly shows that I'm a favorite.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is the first time.
Well, it's just because she keeps saying that when I was a baby, I was having health challenges. So you know those kids that are like constantly falling sick.
Right.
I think she was also struggling. She said she was struggling to breastfeed at that point. So and then she had to bring my grandma into Accra to look after me. So I became like a favorite for her because like there was a lot of attention on me. And same with my grandma too. Like I was her favorite. So even when they're serving food, she'll give me
the favorites of it, the whole family.
two pieces of chicken, give all of them one, and then she'll step bluntly in their face and let them know that yes, that I'm special.
It's still like that,
So-
by the way.
Wow.
So he's making it seem like, oh, he's
It's in the past.
minimizing it.
And I also think I have more grace.
Okay.
I extend more grace to our parents than them. These people they are quick tempered. Small thing or then they vex and then they can't tolerate my mom or my dad.
Yeah.
My dad is no more. But I have more grace. Like no matter what my mom does, I'm able to like I get upset too. I have a quick temper too, but
Oh, you do?
I do, but over time I've grown and managed it. But I extend more grace. So when something is happening, my mom will always be like, "Oh, Kafi won't do this, or Kafi would rather do this." So then it starts to even heighten the fact that I am the favorite. You
Favorites,
understand?
yeah. And there's a lot of like comparison and
Yeah.
all that.
She was
Interesting.
an afterthought, this one.
My mother reminds me of that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jokingly, but it's like, I'm joking, but I'm not really joking.
Yeah.
Like, I think a few weeks ago, we were talking about how a lot of people now only have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And how sometimes she's always giving people in the family pressure, you have to have like a third one. And I was arguing for them. And she said, look at you. Like, if I had also done 2 kids, we even be here. Don't bring yourself. So I was like, okay. Yeah, but I also grew up feeling like he was the favorite. I didn't really care. I didn't really mind.
Okay.
But it's still like that. So I
No,
just wanted to put that out there.
You are the only girl.
Yeah, technically.
So do you think that there was did you feel any favoritism when it came to your dad? Like, cause having 2, did you?
Yeah, to be fair, I think
Boys,
my
yeah.
dad was like super sweet to me.
Okay.
Just because, there's that whole dynamic between father-daughter. I think I felt that. But if I look at my childhood, he was saying earlier that he feels like he had a different child from me. And I also feel the same way. But I don't think it was only about just the fact that he was like very, well taken care of or pampered. I think there was just the gender dynamic.
Okay.
When we were growing up, the boys had a completely different experience, and up till now, it's even hard to they don't get it. Like,
What
it's
was
hard
the
to explain to them. I feel that in our time, girls were. I don't know whether my mother was afraid. So she was afraid of a lot of things, teenage pregnancy. So they started talking about teenage pregnancy when I was like 5. I didn't even know what that was, right? And then there's also the dynamic of, as a girl, you have to do this. As a girl, you have to do that, right? So when we, like, let's say we got back from school, they would go take a nap, play video games, watch TV, play basketball with their friends. I didn't have any of that. It was like, okay, get back from school, you have to be in the kitchen. Even when I couldn't cook, it's like, I just remember that we used to have like this wooden steps in our kitchen, which we used to pick stuff from the upper cabinet.
Yeah.
And I would just be sitting on those steps for like, even if I'm not doing anything. The point was, as a girl, you need to be in the kitchen. So I just have to be there.
Yeah.
Then once in a while, when they remember I'm there, they send me. Whereas the boys are like playing with their friends and stuff like that.
Interesting.
So, and I mean, there were also like other things related to gender. There was always as for you, the girl, my mom would literally say, as for the boys, I don't really worry about them, right? But as for you, the girl, you have to do this, you have to do that, or you can't do this. Going out, like, it was very rare for me to go out in the evening. Cried, you you spoiled
Yeah.
later. But the boys,
They got it.
they used to go out. Even when they weren't allowed to, they would get away with it.
She used to go out and she would hide.
No, but that's because
She'll
at
pack
some
her
point...
clothes and go out.
But at some
And
point, I used to use them
She'll wear
to
something
go
else
out.
when she goes
Goes
out.
out.
But do you
When
get
she
my
comes back,
point?
she'll fold it
Would I
and
have
change into
had
what
to
my
do
mom
that?
would like to see.
All right.
Yes, that they got away with a lot of things. Even
Yeah.
if they say don't go and they go, when they come, she'll just be moody. But
Everyone's-
if I
yeah.
try it, so I mean, over time, I figured out hacks. So sometimes I'll say I'm going with them, or we're going here, or at some point we figured out that when we say we are going for a dinner party, for
Okay.
some odd reason, she'll say yes. If you say, oh, there's a, I don't know, some party,
Yeah.
I don't know, some club or something,
where else
we'll pray
nice
for
club?
you. Like, you know, but if
Yeah.
you say, oh, this person's family has invited us for
Yeah.
dinner, she would always say yes. So once we've hacked that,
That was
that's what
all
we
you
used to do.
used
And
it.
then at some age, so I don't know who told me this, one of my friends said, don't ask, tell. So that was the new strategy, and that also worked.
you
Like,
just-
What age was this? Like, don't ask,
no,
tell.
you
You don't.
said you just go. Me, I won't just go.
Okay.
Like, even as when I was grown up, I had moved back, I was living with her. It was a thing of, I am on Saturday, I'm going to XYZ.
Okay.
Sometimes she'll say, oh, I had a dream, I had a vision, those things.
Okay.
That a lot of African parents do.
Mm-hmm.
But once we switched, but I mean, that was also not when I was like 10. That was like when I was maybe probably after secondary school.
Okay. So like,
Even
yeah,
when I was in
late
uni,
teens.
my mom was always really strict, especially on me. So
Okay.
it took a while to break that. And even now, like sometimes I'm grown up, if she tells me what to do, I always think, oh, she can't tell me what to do. But I find that somewhere in the back of my head, I still kind of want not approval per se, but if she says don't do something,
Yeah, you don't want to
sometimes
really
I
go
will
against
say
it.
don't tell me what to do. But in my mind, somewhere I'm like, hey, mommy said I shouldn't do it. If I'm going to do it and something happens,
Yeah.
they'll use me as a cautionary tale. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so back to you, Meister. Like growing up, school. What was school like for you as a child?
Like basic school.
Basic school and all that.
So I went to Outside Academy.
Okay.
I don't even know where to
Don't
start.
say it, me, I'll say it.
Say what?
Ready?
You know, I mean, so they used to compare me a lot to my brother.
Okay.
My brother was like, there was a time, right? They called my brother in front of the school, and then they called me, and then they said, the teacher said, can you people believe that these two are from the same home?
Wow.
And they were comparing my brother to me because my brother was like calm. I think I've grown to be calm, but like I wasn't like this. My brother was like very calm, speaks less, very neat.
Yeah.
Like how he comes to school is how he'll go home.
Right.
Very organized, stays out of trouble. You never find me in trouble. Me, by 8 a.m. we come to school like maybe 6:30. By 8 a.m. when we have assembly, I'll be dirty like I'm going home. Yeah, like I'll be dirty, there'll be stains all over my uniform.
Wow.
Even sometimes my uniform is torn on some part, my button is out, my shoes are muddy, and I'll be dirty, and my hair will be messy, and the teachers couldn't understand. Like,
What was the reason?
Why?
I even want to know. Like,
yeah,
what was the reason?
No, because it's just my personality. I look at my first daughter now, she's just like me.
Okay.
Like she walks into a room and ignores everybody and just starts. She'll pull your camera. She'll climb this. She'll try and get into the pot. She's just very like she's curious, and I was
Yeah.
like that. Like I would be going to fish in the gutters in the school. I would be
Wow.
trying to build something out of rocks behind some mound of sand. Like I would just be all over the place. My brother will come to school and probably join his. We used to have these things called sections.
Okay.
Where they just clean the school. Everybody has like Rose, Dahlia, Iris.
Okay.
And I would even be dodging that. I won't even be going to my section. I'll be playing, and so they always used to compare me to my brother. Like my sister is like to them was like in between.
Okay.
My brother is calm, proper. I am like extreme words, and then my sister is like they can't predict.
Let me interject here, like to top up what he said. Right, it got to a point. Almost every class I went to, the teacher would ask me, because I don't know about now, but in those days you had like the same teacher.
Yeah.
Like in class 4, it's one teacher,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they'll ask me, "Are you Selom or are you Kafui?" Which kind of meant, "Are you good or bad?"
Oh.
Yeah, I had like literally the entire time I was in Alcid. No shade to Alcid, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
just That's what they would literally ask me. Are you selling my free? And what they meant is, are you good?
Good or are you bad?
Or any opposites, like are
Yeah.
you clean or are you are you studious or are you? It was literally are you.
And what would you say?
And I mean, I was used to either laugh or I'll frown or I'll just laugh, like it's all good, right? So
Yeah. And like, do you feel that you continued? I mean, I don't want to use the word bad, but let's say bad. I mean, that's what you mean.
So
do you think you felt like, okay, everyone already thinks I'm like this, so let me just keep
I
at it.
thought I was being myself, and I thought that was the first. Can I swear here? But
Yeah.
I thought that like, what's the fuss? Like, why I'm being myself. Like, every time people say there's something wrong with me, so I was always in my head trying to prove a point that I'm okay, I'm normal, I'm just like a normal kid who is probably very adventurous. You understand? But then they weren't seeing it that way, so it wasn't necessarily getting to me because maybe I'll be upset in the first instance when I'm talked down on, but then right after, there's even a teacher who said that I'll never make it in life, and then he said, when I go, he was called Mr. Labi. He said when I go to I remember he said in JSS that when I go to secondary school, I'm going to be beaten up by seniors so much that it's going to affect me, and he knows that I'm not going to make it in life.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I still think about that.
every now and then when I'm even talking to some of my old housemates, they laugh and they see me and they're like recently I was doing some charity work and one of my colleagues came and just like, well, this is so how do you call it, touching, and she came to donate so much money and she's been supportive since, and she put it in our household group, and they're all like remembered and they're all saying those jokes like, oh, Mr. Labi should see you by now, oh, Miss Finn should see you by now, all the things they said about you, because I think it just comes back to how kids were raised then, or even schools are a bit different now. They have understanding of different temperaments and stuff, and they understand that kids build character based on how extreme they are or how calm they are. But then, and maybe I don't want to blame them, but then they were programmed in a way that like all kids are supposed to be
a certain way.
a certain way. So if you are a bit off that path, they just feel like you're troublesome, you're trouble, you're a disgrace, you can't make it anywhere.
Right.
And they ring it in your head so much that you think that
It's true.
Yeah, like I didn't think I was smart all throughout it. Honestly, didn't, because I would be, we were like 40 something in class, but I would be always dancing between the 20s and the 30s. Yeah, the only time I won a prize was for punctuality. And even that one, I think they just gave it to me to make my mom happy, because my mom was always worried about my education and stuff, and I haven't diagnosed, but I think I have ADHD because I have very bad like attention. I have a very bad attention span. Like I'll switch off even in this dialogue. If it gets too boring, I might just start. Yeah. If she starts talking too long, I have to remind myself that hey, I'm in a how do you call it? Yeah. So I was like that in class. Even in my masters, I realized that like I'd sit in class, and in the first 30 minutes, this is a 2-hour lecture. First 30 minutes, I'm there, and then the rest I'm off. I'm doing something else. But that's how I was in school, and they just didn't get it. But instead of trying to figure out what I really liked,
you were labeled.
Yeah, and I loved arts. Like, so I've moved in that direction ever since. I only started feeling like I was smart when I got to uni.
Okay, we'll come back to that. So for you, like, how did you, like, I'm thinking about having a brother who has been labeled bad and all that. Did that make you defensive? Did that make you like, okay, I'm not going to associate with him? Like, how, like, what was that like for you?
So it's interesting because, I mean, I'm sure you probably know that my brothers and I have a very close relationship. And I genuinely believe that in terms of your personality, I would say I am in a way a balance of the two.
Okay.
So even like if I look at career-wise what I do today, I still have like my creative side, and I'm able to, I may not like the math stuff, but if I need it, I am able to, he once he's like, okay, I don't like this, that's it, like I can't. But for me, I feel like if it has to be done, I would do it like blood, sweat and tears and pick up that maybe quantitative side, which is more like my big brother, right? I tried not to let those things get to me because I also had my personality of my own. I'm a bit feisty. Say what I think,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I won't say it made me feel like, oh, let me not associate with him. The only thing that used to be annoying is that obviously my mom used to be a bit partial to him.
Right.
But at that age, I still realized that what the teachers were doing wasn't right. Right. And I know that we're saying we shouldn't blame them, but I blame them because they didn't treat they didn't treat every kid like that, right? It was
Okay.
it's almost like they brand you, so they pick these kids and then they decide that, okay, we don't like these kids and we're going to treat them badly. And for the entire 10 years that you're in the school, they will treat you badly. They won't give you any grace. There are very few teachers who didn't maybe do that, maybe like a Mr. Mingo. There are like one or two of them.
Okay.
But a number of the teachers, they just decide that we don't like you. And that's literally it.
So before you get to the next class, they already know.
Oh yeah.
okay.
It's a small school.
Ah,
It's one stream, like
Yeah.
okay.
class 1, class 4. Right now, I think it's multiple. So they even know you. A class 4 teacher might even know you from class 1.
Yeah.
Because they've heard about
Right,
you.
right.
They know, oh, this person's brother is in school, and this is what
Right. Yeah.
they kind of know you before you even come to the class. So
Yeah.
like when you come, they know you, like they are aware of, and the other teacher has probably painted a picture to them already. So
And stuff needs
they just walk around the school knowing that, oh, this person's like, oh, this one there, oh, it's trouble, it's this. It's
Yeah.
that. I mean, I know I was very troublesome. That one there, like I was
You were a
always
kid.
doing things that kids won't like even think of doing. Like, I'll get in trouble.
Like what?
Over like I used to get in trouble with even like I used to be very aggressive.
Okay.
So like a lot of people who like I hurt them, like maybe I threw a stone and it hit someone's head and the person was bleeding. There was a time I put a pencil in someone's eye by mistake.
Oh,
Yeah, the guy is like he's
Can he
old
still-
now.
can he
Oh no,
see?
he sees, but
Oh.
he wears glasses now. And when I think about it, I feel bad sometimes.
oh
But
no.
I mean, like I was a kid. I was like 6 years or something.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Okay,
So
you really was a
even when
kid,
the thing
like-
was happening, I
Yeah.
still remember how I was clueless as to how there were so many adults around me, like screaming and
Yeah.
yelling, and then I was just like, okay, can I go and play? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? So like things like that. So I was just getting in trouble. And I used to. I might have said, I wrote an. There was a girl in my class that I wrote a note. I was in class 1. That means I was like 6 years, and I wrote a note that I love you because you're very beautiful, and I passed it to her, and she
Wow.
picked it and took it straight to the teacher,
Oh my.
and the teacher
Class
took
1.
me round the whole school to each class to go and show each teacher that
Oh.
like look at what he's written.
And you
And,
can call her bonnet.
and then
Yeah.
I started crying. I cried till like for each class he sent me to. I'm crying. I thought I was in trouble. And it was doing some time in class 3. They said we should draw. I used to be that guy. Like we have about 4 of us in the class who were good with like drawing illustrating. So when there's something that we have to draw, like everybody comes, oh help me draw mine, to get points. And then there was this time we're doing vices,
Okay.
like social vices, and then I decided to draw rape.
Oh.
This is the first time I'm hearing.
You know it, huh? I tried to draw rape, and I drew a guy on top of a girl, like doing the actual thing. And I was in class 3, like I drew detail. Like
How do you know? Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know, I just like I knew things. Like,
Okay.
and we're a lot of kids at home too. We'll get
Okay.
to that, but
Okay.
there were even older cousins who used to do all kinds of things so that we used to
That's true.
sort of see. Like the first time I saw a porn movie, I think I was 8 years.
I feel like we need the
Wow.
mommy. Does mommy know all this?
I mean, she's now you're adult, so she's going to find
That
out.
movie I was 8, so like I'd seen so much because there's so many
Yeah.
adults around us.
That's
We're
true.
not that sheltered. No, sheltered they were not, because our parents go out and then they just assume that they're older kids, they look after
Or
them,
they
they're
trust.
fine.
I think there's also something.
Yeah,
about
they
trust
trust
that
the older kids.
The older kids
to look
are
after them.
babysitting.
And the older kids are like, how
My
old?
cousins, they were somewhere like 16.
Mid-teenage.
Yeah, like
At the time, they seemed very old to us, but they were literally mid-teenage to maybe like mid-20s, right?
yeah.
And they're also figuring
So-
out their adolescent life.
So
Yeah.
I drew that thing, and I remember when I was drawing the whole class, everybody would come to my table and be like, "You see what Coffee is drawing?" Everybody just kept coming to my table, and then I was feeling good about it because like you guys can't draw one. And then, I'm doing something that people can like surprise. So I was just excited. And some people say, "Hey, you get in trouble." No, you know those things. But
He didn't.
Did you get in trouble?
I did.
Oh.
The teacher, and that's the thing. When I think about it now, I'm like, there are different ways which you should be able to educate kids on things like that. The teacher got the books, and then when he reached my page, I remember that school was over, and I was playing. I was just in the kid coming down, Mr. Okra is calling you. I said, okay. Then I followed them, and I went there. And they were close. It was like almost 4 p.m. I was waiting for them to pick us up. And he told me to sit down. When I sat down, he just held my hand. And he opened the book and he said, what is this? And he's holding this short cane. And now he's asking me questions. He's caning me. Why do you do this? How do you do this? And the whole time, like, I was just crying. And he told my mom, you do like...
And
so
he's not even getting, he's not grasping.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I now start feel like maybe I'm bad. I'm a sport child. Like, I'm going to draw something pornographic. So maybe that's why he beats me. But maybe there are different ways in which he could have handled it. So...
Wow.
Just imagine
I was a troublemaker.
He knew this from being abused, right? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes.
The person would completely like lose that because they would just say we are collaborating. But perhaps you only know this because somebody is doing,
and because of what you've been exposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and let's move on to growing up at home and all that with like older cousins and that sort of thing. What was that experience like for you?
I don't recommend. That's the something. I highly do not recommend.
Okay.
Like, okay, so I think for me, now that I'm older and I've had like very extensive conversations with my mom to understand the logic, I get why she did it. Right?
Why did she do it?
I think that, my mom grew up in the Eastern region. She always had the mentality that you need to help other people, right? For whatever reason. And one of the ways you can help them is, okay, maybe you help because she's strict. She was a teacher, like by profession. She was stricter. You have them come stay in your house. You make sure that they go to school and finish school. Because I'm guessing that some of the people who came from like the town that she came from would, they didn't prioritize education. And she really believed that education was the way, right? So hers was, okay, if she wants to help someone and they are living in their parents' house and she feels like they are not getting it, she would open up her home, right? So it was like cousins, it was like even some of her half siblings, and even sometimes just like family, very good family friends, right? And I get why she did it, but I would not do that. I really wouldn't, because I don't want to go into the details of what the cons are, but for me there were a lot of cons, and so it's not something that I will do. Like he said, you trust some of them to take care of your children when you're away, right? And sometimes they do not, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously they are not a parent, so they don't know.
Adults.
They're not adults, so they don't know what it is. Even if you tell them, they don't know what it is, what it means to take care of a child. So you end up exposing your children to things they shouldn't be exposed to. And for many, many years, she had no clue about some of the things that we were exposed to. It's only recently that we started telling her some, and she sometimes goes from shock to like, oh, there's no way this happened, right? But I mean, now she knows that we have nothing to lose by telling her these things. So I think it's for her, it's like, and she was a good mother. I think my mom was a very good mother. She's still an awesome mother. But I think for her, it's like, okay, I've had, it's almost like different realities. Like I've really grown up believing that I was like an excellent mother. I knew everything that was happening in my home. I was like on top of it. And now you're finding out that actually there are a lot of things that you were not aware of. So for me, I wouldn't do it. And these days a lot of people don't even do that. They don't.
They don't. Yeah.
But growing up, I think it was a bit too much.
Yeah. I mean, because I definitely grew up. I grew up with. So my dad was married earlier and had 3 kids, 3 boys, and then his wife died, and then married my mom, and then had us 3. And so I grew up with my older brothers, and then I also grew up with my dad's ex-wife's sister,
right?
And then also my dad's sisters. So the house was just like kind of like yours, a big house with so many kids. The area, everyone is like, oh, but you have like bad big brothers. Everyone is like, oh, your brothers are bad, things like that. I've always jokingly said it, and I want them to come and clear their name one day on this thing. But they had their reasons, honestly, and they had like the upbringing was, kind of different from mine.
Yeah.
So, so we were again. I feel I was also exposed to a lot of things that I don't even
That
think they
age,
even know. Yeah, I don't even think they know. But I was exposed to a lot of things because when they brought girls home, things. So you see things.
too much.
Yeah, you know a lot.
Know too much.
And did you? I mean, I can say that I didn't feel safe enough to go share something like that with my parents. But yeah, but I feel like going back to Meister, right? Because of what you drew, in my mind, you didn't. A lot of the things that you were exposed to, you didn't think were bad.
No, I didn't think because yeah, like all these cousins were doing things that the language, things you would hear from them, things that seem like the norm.
Things
That
that
even
they're
I would
doing.
say in school, and then some of my friends would look at me like,
Yeah.
but I'm like, because I hear them say it all the time, swear words, the kind of music I used to hear.
Yeah.
Like at that age, I knew Bounty Killer music, I knew Buju Banton, lyrics end to end. Look, I was like 10
That's
years,
true.
and I knew Buju
Those are
Banton
our
songs end
favorites.
to end. Like, I knew what weed was. Like,
Yeah.
at that age, like, and there were kids my age who were so clueless.
Yeah.
They just go home, they watch a Star Wars, and then they come to school the next Monday. I knew what sex was. I
Yeah.
knew porn. Like, because there were cousins in the house who were just living freely and uncles and whatever who just come around. And even sometimes, like, not just even my mom, like my dad trusted almost everybody. Like he might have, let's say, someone who is probably a caretaker of or a foreman or working on the project he's working on, and he'll say, "Oh, come and stay in the house," and they'll find some place for them to stay.
In the guest room for
And
like
then
months.
they'll just be in the house, and then they talk recklessly. And
Yeah,
there was even one who was living sort of next door, but like that built this shed for him and his wife.
true.
And the guy would beat his wife.
Oh my.
Like he would
Yeah.
beat his wife and lock his wife up in the room and go out, and we hear her
We used to
wailing.
laugh though.
And yeah, we used to laugh. It was fun.
like kids, we didn't
Yeah,
know.
we
I
didn't
used to,
know.
at a point, I used to think that it's normal to
It's
discipline your wife.
normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I used to think,
Yeah.
like no, even though my parents were not like
Yeah,
that,
but
I
seeing
never
that.
see my parents circle. But I used to see him do it like normal. Nobody comes. No man steps in. Like they only just come and beg, and then after they'll tell the woman to come and apologize to the man. Yeah. After everything cools down, he comes to unlock her or whatever. They'll tell the woman to come and apologize to the
But
man.
what
So
I
that
remember was
don't do that
also
again.
them calling him to say you shouldn't
Well,
do
of course,
that.
they'll advise him, but also they'll say they panic, all those things.
Yeah.
Like, so I used to think that, okay, you can beat your wife, like, if she fools, show up.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, like,
That's that was your reality as well, right?
Yeah, but I mean, now come to think about it, I realized because he's 2 years older,
yeah,
Like-
and why is that?
because he's 2 years older, there are some things that I remember, but I remember them maybe slightly differently. Because I do remember that man who was, I don't even remember why he was living there. I think he was working on something for a
I
family.
was
or
working on a property next door,
something. Right, that's why.
and then, because he was like very handy, reliable guy, my dad started engaging him for his own property.
Okay, that's true.
So he was not necessarily living on our property, but he was living
The
next
shed
door,
or
and
something.
the space in between ours and that space was like an open space.
A
So
hedge or something.
yeah, like a hedge or something. So you could see his
That's true.
whatever structure or whatever
Yeah.
shed that he was living in,
And
and
he was in our home a lot.
he used to come to our house a lot. Even we used to go play in front of his shed or whatever. And I mean, yeah.
It's interesting, like, because now that you're saying it, I'm just remembering. And when I was growing up, there was a time I thought my mother didn't like me, like because she was really strict. Right? So now sometimes I feel like some of it was a bit much, but sometimes so I'm like, this woman was a wise woman because, like he said, there were a lot of people. There were drivers, security men, like some of these people, handy people who are just around my dad, and sometimes they are doing my wife, and my mom is like, she's not your wife, that kind of thing, or they are coming and they're even some of my dad's friends. Like now that when I think about it, I'm like,
That was so
why is this man
twisted.
coming and making me follow him to his car and saying he bought me this and he bought me that. Like, why? Now that I'm older, I get why my mother was like a hawk, right? But again, imagine that there could have been times where she's not there.
Yeah.
How are you then protected from having all of these people in and out of your home?
House. Yeah.
You get
True,
it. So
true.
for me, I think some of the things when you're a kid, you don't really understand. You just think that mommy, dear, she's long. Oh, this person said they are bringing me this, and then mommy told them off, or you just think that she's complicated. But now that you're older, you're like, okay, like she did what was the right thing.
Did you have any conversations Wait, again, were your parents living together? Your mom and dad? Okay, good. Okay. Okay. Did you have any conversations with them? I'm talking about sex and things like becoming a teenager. Maybe, like you are strict, but then you have a reason why you're strict. So maybe you say something like, oh, because I don't want you to end up going to have sex and then getting pregnant and this is what happens. Did you have any conversation, or in your mind it was just like your mom is strict and that's it? Did she ever like explain certain things to you at all?
My mom used to make it look like some sort of taboo. Apart from her telling my sister that, hey, be careful so you don't get pregnant. She also told me that, hey, don't go and make someone's daughter pregnant. But she doesn't want to talk about it into detail. She would, like, even if, for example, like, I have a girlfriend and I introduce my girlfriend to her, especially in uni, she doesn't want to use the word girlfriend. She'll say like
friend.
She'll say, oh, your friend.
Yeah,
I got married, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, she that's how she used to do it. Even before I got married. Yeah, she would never say, oh, your girlfriend or your. No, she just says your friend, a friend. So she makes it look like something we don't talk about. So we too, we pick our mind like.
But again, I still think that different reality, right? Because my mom, like I told you, my mom is like a professional teacher, like educated to the highest level in terms of being a teacher. So when we were in like, I don't know if it was primary school, she did have a sex conversation with us.
Okay.
Right.
What were we though? Maybe we.
Either it was maybe it was just the girls, or I do think that all the kids were there. But maybe, again, they focused a lot of the things on the girls. So even if all the kids are there, it's like they're not talking to the boys. It's like
you guys.
The girls. This is what I remember the conversation being. Do you know what sex is? We knew what sex was, but when she asked, I said male and female because that's what I learned in school.
Yeah.
And then she now explained, okay, sex is something that married people do, and you're not supposed to do it. Something like that. Like it was a very academic conversation.
I think unmarried people have more sex than married.
Like it was a very academic conversation, and it's like you are even afraid to react because it's like you don't want to smile or like you don't want to react in any way for them to look at you and say, why are you smiling? You know about this, so we are all just looking like it's like you're listening to like a lecturer or something.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember, that okay, she illustrated by saying your dad and I are married, and so if we want to have sex, we can because we are married. So it is for married people, full stop. And then she had these books around the house, again, teacher. So I think there was every woman. There were so many of them. And she encouraged us to read it, the girls. So I did know a bit about like what sex is and stuff like that. But when it was necessary, she didn't talk about it. So when we entered teenage, zero. Like until I was like married. And then it's like almost when I was about to get married, then all of a sudden it's like, you want to come and be, no, me and you are not like that. Yeah. Or you want to come and be telling me, oh, I have the secret of how you can should be sending me and my husband these broadcasts of how you can get a baby boy. Like, this was even before we got married. And I'm like, and it was so weird because it's like the last time I had a proper sex conversation, it was like we were in primary school. And then from teenage, it became the thing. Sex became the thing. If we're even watching a movie and they're doing the thing, it's always the thing. Hey, look what they're doing. I said, what are they doing? They're doing the thing. And I'm like, Mommy, what thing? Yeah. And she wouldn't say it. Like, she'll be uncomfortable if there wasn't proof that she's done it before. Like,
you guys,
like, I'm sure she'll say that, oh, she's never done it.
Yeah,
I promise you. And I don't know why. I don't know if other like Ghanaian parents are like that.
Same.
But it's like, for me, I feel that conversation that we had in primary school would have benefited me more if she had said it maybe when I was like 17 or 18, because now you go to uni, you realize you actually don't know anything. And obviously you will learn from around your environment. You learn from people around you. You learn from what is going on in uni. University is not the best place to learn things.
It's not. It's actually interesting hearing that a parent will be strict, right? Not let their kids go out, whatever it is, and then the child is already exposed to so much in the house, and it's actually very easy for you to like overlook all that. It's like, oh, my home is safe, but then outside the home isn't, and sometimes outside the home is even safer than inside the home, right? So I want to move to like growing up, like now you're no more a child. Now let's move on to Meister.
I'm still a child of God.
Yeah. Like, when did you start to transition into this, like, calmer, like, how did you get here? When the transition starts?
There's been stages.
Okay. What was the
like
first
it just
stage?
didn't, like, calmer and calmer and calmer. And now I think like when people see me, they don't even believe like I can talk. Like yeah, but I don't know when it started, but I think I was still loud in uni.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Let's go back to secondary. So secondary school, was it
secondary
the
school, I
same?
was still wild. Like I used to dance and go
Okay.
on stage and break bounce and be at the heart of every like sort of chaos.
Okay.
But I also started drawing away from, you know how a lot of boys have like boys, like
Yeah.
I'll go sit to the boys.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Oh.
No, I don't have that. Like if I tell Kiki that
Wow.
my wife that we go sit to the boys, that would be the first time she's ever heard that.
This is interesting.
No,
I would have never.
I don't have boys. I don't have like.
Why?
Okay, this is the thing.
Okay.
This is the thing. I know a lot of people.
Okay.
I know a lot of people, but I don't have that thing. Like, I'll give you an example. During my wedding, the groomsmen came from different places. Some from secondary school, some from GSS, some from uni, some from church, some from family.
Neighborhood.
So they all just came together, and some have heard of each other, and then they bonded. But it's not like a group of, you see how some boys, like when I was in Quebec, I saw that people like services boys, they have a gang. Like Morning Stars, they have like some gang. Like they have boys, and up to now they're grown and they still have those friends. I don't have that. You understand? And I think it started when I got into Presec. When I got into Presec, there were not a lot of outside people.
Oh, okay.
When I was in outside, like I had a good bunch of friends, and then right after outside, they're all like separate. Some to Boucher, some went to SOS, some traveled.
Yeah.
So in outside, my mates were outside boys were about 3 or 4.
Okay.
In that big school, and then some of them came in like 70, 80 boys.
Yes.
Like, and I had just like 3 other outside people. So I was forced to kind of make friends, and when I was in outside, there's a lot of teasing that used to go on. And now coming to a new environment where it's like, okay, nobody knows me here.
Yeah.
Nobody has any perception about me. I need to change what people think about me. I was now very cautious of people I bonded with. And I was in a house where, like, I was in house 3. There was no outside person there. There was nobody I knew there. It's like, except like my cousin or something. So it's like a whole new environment. And then I started keeping to myself a lot.
Were you a boarder or?
I was a boarder.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would only meet, let's say, when I meet the boys that I know, I meet them. Like, and obviously you find people who are similar to you, and I made friends quickly too because I was still loud and still playful and partying and going to dance and going to different schools to perform and all those kind of things. Yeah. And I was in the visual arts too. We had a lot of time on our hands. So I was like all over the place. I still knew a lot of people. People who went to Presec know me as skills, and they still remember me that the guy that did dance, the guy who do this, the, the basketball. Like, so they knew me. A lot of people knew me, but I still did not have a gang. Okay, you get what I mean? And I still don't have a gang.
Okay, is it something that worries you?
No, not at all. Like I spend a lot of time alone. Like people, when I even say I have a social battery that dies quickly, people don't believe it.
No, seeing you, I can see that. But yeah, I wouldn't like the name. Yeah, the name.
Yeah, but people see me, especially they know me Meister online. Like I tweet a lot. I seem to know everybody. I actually post maybe only when I'm out. Yeah. So people don't know that like all the times I'm not posting, I'm home.
Yeah, actually. Like even when he's home, he can be a little antisocial.
Wow.
So like in his room, I go to his house a lot.
She gets annoyed. She comes sometimes. Then I'm in my room. Or I'm still with them, but I'm not there. Like I'm moody. I'm just.
Or he's on his phone, or he's his mind's in the clouds, and we are just talking, and we're like, we say something, everybody loves it. And like, I hear what we said, and he's like,
What?
Like,
but what is that?
Like
Is that you not being interested in it? Is that like, your social battery has died? Like, what is going on in that moment?
Quickly. Like,
okay.
I get into it in the beginning. I'm excited, and after that, I'm over it. Like, yesterday I was out, and my business partner has been saying that she's been hinting that we should just go grab drinks every time. Like I come and I go, and that's actually my routine. Like I come and I go home, or I stay long in the office and work and then come home late. So it's those two things. Yeah, it's not that I'm out chilling. You understand? Yeah. But so she was like, let's go out, and then we went to Alibi, and then when I was there, like I was asking, so where we go? And then I was spoiling her night, and then she was moody. She was like, I wanted to have drinks, and I thought that you also needed it too. But it's just me. Anyway, so there was a transition in in Presec,
Okay.
it reduced.
Okay.
I was still sociable, but I now started learning to be by myself
Okay.
and enjoy my company.
Okay.
And then even right after Presec to like that, so there was a period I didn't go to school with my mates. I delayed 1 year because I had to rewrite my mathematics because I hated math. And like Lucy said, like when I don't like something, I don't even
That's
bother.
it. Yeah.
I had to make a conscious effort to now sit and rewrite that thing with like put my mind on it. And even that one, so if I still didn't get an A, but I passed. And my mom was so happy that like,
Yeah.
Props to
like
her.
fine, you've passed. And that was I always think that was a very pivotal moment in my life
Why?
because they're like you can't go to school, you can't go to uni if you haven't passed math and I think
Yeah, because it's core
science
math.
and then English or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd passed everything well, B's, a couple of A's, and then only that one I had an F, a straight F, because I just went into the room, I didn't bother. So, and I was telling my mom that I'll still apply because I passed all. She was like, no, you're not applying because they won't take, if you've passed, you have an F in math, you'll never take it. I did NOVDEC still. I was still failing it.
To give you the
So I even told myself that, you know what, I won't go again. I won't go to school again. So I remember I went to job search and I found this place. It's called
it's called New
It's
Rest.
called New Rest.
And then it was called First
It's
Kitchen.
called First Kitchen. They make the food for the airlines.
Oh, okay.
So I went there and I went to do an interview and like I'm quite vocal too. So I impressed the lady who was there. She was like, yeah, she'll hire me, but you're going to hire me as a factory hand. I was probably, how old was I?
Like 17 or so.
19,
19.
18, 19.
Okay.
I went to tech in 9, so I was like 18 years.
18.
And I came back, I told my mom that they said they've given me a job. That's I can't remember the amount, but
It's like 300 cities.
yeah, like 300, 400 CDs. Yeah, to me it was like
A lot of money, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to this cool thing we were talking about. My brother, and my mom lost it. Like she could not believe it. Like, are you crazy? Like, oh, what we worked towards. There's nothing you can do by just going to work in a factory. But I mean, I was just thinking of day and day, and like I felt like I'm talented. Like I know some arts. I could do sculpture, things like that, paint. I'll add this to it. I have money. I'll be fine.
To do airline food.
And then what happened? I think my brother knows me. Like I bond with him even better than Norvisi.
Oh.
She too bonds with my brother
Better than, oh, okay.
Oh,
I'll allow her to
she bonds with my brother
share
better
that.
than me. I think I used to be closer when we were younger, but
To who? To him or to?
to her. Really? But she didn't realize it. But I got to a point. She became closer to my brother. She and my brother talk about things that she can't talk about me with. Because to me, she started becoming judgmental to me. She doesn't know it, but she started becoming.
That's how I felt about you too.
She
But
started
anyway,
becoming
carry
judgmental. Me, I'll be protective, not judgmental.
Same difference.
But she started
carry on.
becoming judgmental to me. So
Okay.
I also stopped telling her some things.
Okay.
And even now they can't even tell her anything again because she's very close to my wife. So they are like best friends. So there are some things I just don't.
Now it's over.
That's funny.
I think I've even.
Yeah, no. So no, just talking about the transitions and all that. So
Yeah,
now
so-
your mom said never. You have to go to
So
university.
my brother sat me down.
Okay.
And he knows I like to chill. Like, those times, like, if everywhere there are girls, there's party. So then he sat me down. He had this old computer. So he went to open some folder that he has hidden. Some folder that he has named something like that. You can't even tell. Then started showing me like pictures of him in school, partying. Things that like he probably didn't want maybe his girlfriend to see.
Wow.
Or something. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But it was like a hidden folder, and he just had things that are not there for plain sight.
Yeah.
And things that he knows I'll be interested in. Like, actually, see this party, see we go this picture, you see this girl, you see this, like.
Yeah.
So I was so intrigued, and I was like, all these things they happen for the tech day. He said, yeah, actually, it did jam wrong.
Oh, he was in tech. You didn't mention that. Okay, so
He was in tech.
showing you
He was
the
in
party
tech.
scene in tech.
Yeah.
And he was like, and if I go to tech with my mates, I would have met him. But because I delayed, Presec, I didn't meet him because it's 3 years.
Yes.
So when he left, then I came. And tech was the only opportunity for me to be in the same school with him.
Okay.
And then I missed that too because I delayed. But he still wanted me to experience it. So
Yeah.
he was telling me, showing me all the cool things they do. Then he was like, you know what? He'll invite me to Kumasi like when he's going back like in like 2 weeks. So I should like prepare for it. So but after that conversation, he was like, listen, just write the paper.
Yeah.
Come take, muku chill. Like, so I left that thing not now being not feeling like I was being forced by my mom that you have to learn and be someone in the future. I just saw it that let me go to tech and jam.
Yes.
I didn't think of the degree. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to tech to chill, meet girls, party. So that was my mindset.
But he used something you were interested
Yeah.
in.
Yes,
to get
he
you-
used that
exactly.
as a
That's what-
bait to get me interested.
Yes. Yes.
So me today
Okay.
now I went hard. All the while I remember I was going for my class. I'm thinking about the pictures. I'm going all the way to Nungua for classes. Every time I'm just thinking about the children. Then he took me to Tech 2. So that I went for a whole week. Took me out, party, made his friends show me a good time. Like it was so good. And then I came back and I was like, I was hyped. This Tech, we go.
Yeah.
So I went to write my papers. I got, I think, a C. My mom was so happy with the math because she knows
Yes.
It's like clocked out of
Yes.
mathematics.
yeah, she was so happy, and then I passed, and then I got my paper.
But you know, they used to also tell you that if you don't, because we're 2 years apart, right? So you didn't go with your mate. So if you don't go this year, you know your sister, her big mouth, you will be her mate too. So I think that was also like, hey, God, this girl never let me. Already, this girl doesn't respect, and she'll never let me hear the end of it.
And
So
I couldn't
there was also
stand it.
like-
Even when I went to Tech for that short period to chill with my brother, I met my mates there because they were there. And they were like, where you there? And I'm like, I did. And I kept saying, I'll come next year. I'll come next. But I didn't raise my papers yet. But I'm like,
So
I'll
you
come
have
next
to-
year. So all those things were in my head. Like, I would come.
Yeah.
I have to come. So he pushed me, and then I came to Tech. And then,
Okay.
I mean, that one too. Then now even the friend thing started reducing more. I started spending more time alone with myself. I had some girlfriend I was with for like 3 whole years. I started spending more time with her. So I still knew a lot of people. I was doing parties. I was still like social when I have to be, but after that I need to come back and just be in my corner. So I remember everybody was going to Brunei, but I decided to go to Ivandi because it's just still that mindset thing. I sort of wanted to create my life my way. I didn't want to create my life with in the group.
boys influence each other.
Yeah, because
So-
I realized everybody was going like, there was this guy that I was really close with. We're all in unity together. And then when it was now time for us to leave the main halls, he and all the boys we decided to go to Brunei. And I felt like, oh, Charlie, I thought you'd come with me. Like he said, no, come Brunei. That way, but in as much I wanted to be in the fun, I still wanted to sort of like
figure your life.
Yeah.
he
by
created
yourself.
the way I wanted to create
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I gradually drew away from and now like I close from work and go home like or I go where I have to go. But I'm not a boys person. Like I even feel like I was telling my partner recently that I think I like female energy.
Okay.
I excel better too with female energy. I've looked at everywhere I've worked. Every time I've had a female boss, I've done amazing.
Wow.
Where I've had male bosses, it was terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it goes back
That's
to your
interesting.
childhood. I think it goes back to your childhood, but I want to move
Yeah.
to
Where I've had, okay, sorry.
yeah, talking about him like having his own path and all
Yeah.
that. I feel like you've always kind of been associated with him.
Yeah.
And so for you, like how did you have
Yeah.
your own path?
I think, like I said, even in as much as we're different, we're also really similar. Like, even,
Okay.
I mean, he's just maybe, like, if it comes to, like, the creative part, he's, like, super creative. And I'm, like, a balanced, creative, analytical, right? And my brother is, like, more analytical. And I honestly do not mind that I'm associated with him.
Okay.
I also believe that, to an extent, both my brothers influence me.
Okay.
And if I think I make very good decisions.
Okay.
Hey, let me not say it and jinx it. But I think that the reason why I make very good decisions is because of my brothers.
How?
So, like, I'll give you an example. So, for example, the way my Skafu says Selom gave him this pep talk about chilling and all of that. Selom also gave me a pep talk when I was going to tech. And I mean, up to now, I never forget it. He said something about how, the deception of freedom, this is, because again, my parents are very strict and I went to Wesley Girl. So it's like double strict.
Yeah.
And then now you're going to uni for the first time. That's literally the first time that you are getting any real freedom.
Yeah.
So he gave me the whole pep talk about, the deception of freedom. You have all the freedom in the world right now, but just understand that in university, every decision you make would affect your life. Like it's your own. You can't put it on mommy. You can't put it on anyone. It's really you. So like that kind of stuck with me. And even up till now, like when I want to do something, I always think back to that. Like, okay, yeah, I can do that, but how would it benefit me? Right. So I don't know if I'm answering your question. I feel like I don't mind being associated to my brothers.
Yeah.
Because again, we're very close. We're very good friends. And funny enough, I think now that we've gotten older, to an extent, we have become like pretty close knit, like with our partners and stuff. To a large extent, we've become, very close knit. We spend more time together than even like friends now. We do like vacations and everything together. But I would say that in terms of the closeness, he felt at some point that I was being judgmental. I felt the same way because there was a notion that he's just 2 years older than me, right? 2 years is big, but it's really not that big. And what would happen is it's like he has an idea of how he wants his sister to behave, right? And so in his mind, he's being protective. But for me, you're sitting on my happiness. You're not allowing me to figure out my life myself, right? And then also when you're telling him something, he didn't have active listening, still doesn't, first of all. And then on top two, he's like, already you're not even listening.
Yes.
And then the one thing you hear, maybe you heard boy. Why this boy? I don't like this boy. Boys are bad, So it's like you didn't even hear what I said. Whereas when I'm talking to Selim, I can tell Selim anything. So it's not that people always say that I'm close. Some people, there's a group of people again who think I'm closer to him, and there's a group who think I'm closer. But I just think that I'm close to both of them, but it's different. Our relationships are different.
Exactly.
So depending on what the information is, if I know that, okay, I don't even know what example to give. Like, let's say at first, if maybe there's some boy in the picture, or I've done something that I'm not very proud of in relation to a boy, I'm not going to call this guy. My Salam is on speed dial, and he will listen actively, even though, I mean, he left like almost, has it been like 15 years ago?
So he's
to America. He lives in America. But I used to speak to him at some point more than this guy, right? Because this guy also doesn't like phone calls. That's another problem. So Salam will answer, and he will listen, even if what I've just told him is what's it called? It's like wrong in a sense, right? He would listen, and even after that, if he's going to advise me, the way he would go about it, so it felt very safe.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like this girl would be like, oh, but you two, this boy, and over time I realized that once I stopped telling him too much, it helped our relationship to a large extent, right? But again, I also realized sometimes that he's actually very emotional. Okay. So again, I got that, like, now that I'm older, I know that he was trying to protect me. But I feel like sometimes it was almost like he feels my pain in a sense. So like, if I got like brokenhearted by some guy, or the way he would react, it was also very different from Selom. So I may tell Selom first, but he would just listen, and he would just be like, oh, don't mind the guy, he's useless. Like, he's like, yeah, okay. He's like, oh, you find another new boy. Oh, I have this guy. Let me introduce you. But he'll be like, this guy does not, like, he would get so emotional. And so I realized that, okay, so it's actually coming from a good place. But still, I want to figure out
the way
my life.
I communicated it. You see, I won't lie, I have emotions. I'm very emotional. Like,
okay.
It's not that like I've grown up and I sleep over things. Okay. And it's a conscious effort, especially when I started leading a team. Okay. And something happens and then I'm boiling or something is making me want to react. Then I'm like, I'll probably take a walk or I'll go home and then I'll be moody, but by the time I come the next day, now I'm thinking on logic. When I was younger, my mom even used to get worried. And I think my dad was emotional. Like, my mom used to get worried about my emotions. Okay. Something will happen and she'll call me back after and be like, you're so emotional. You need to, like, calm down your emotions. And that's how I used to react with her, right? One, growing up with her, I'd always had that, as a kid, that I'm 2 years older than her. Like, no, it's not a big deal. I laugh about it now. But, like, when you're growing up and you feel like you're the older one, they always say, oh, you're the older one. Take care of your sister, you're the older one. So I've grown up to a point that, like, it took me a while to accept that she's an adult now. Yeah. So all through GSS, secondary school, all the while in my mind she's still a child. Like, you don't see the way.
And it was 2 years.
It was 2 years. And then now we're in uni, and I've been in the school for 2 years before she came. No, 1 year actually before she came. But I'm not gonna say anything. But still, I felt like, and I mean, I'm a guy that's out there. Like, I'm not an angel. You understand?
Yeah.
We're in the streets. You
Yeah.
understand? So, and also because I love her a lot, like,
Yeah.
Wow, you said it.
no, she's not it's like how a guy's wife is his pride. My sister is my pride. Like, everybody knows that, oh, my sister is coming to the school.
Yeah.
For my street cred, like, my sister has to
Towards
perform.
us, yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
I get it. I get it.
And like, I've come to school, I've met guys in the school that I know that this guy, like, one of the exes was like, no names, but
Hey, I
one
don't
of
have
the-
any exes.
one
Any exes before 2020?
one of the exes
Yes.
was my friend.
Okay.
We used to ravage the street together. And then I come and I hear that, like, me and this guy are talking.
Yeah.
And I know that this guy doesn't have any good
Hey, which
intentions.
guy
Yeah.
is it? But
We won't get there,
anyway,
but
no.
and I know that this guy doesn't have any good intentions.
Yeah.
So I come and ask you, and then you're lying about it, or you're acting very sneaky. But the thing is that I hear it. Like,
Yeah.
the guy's ex or something was in my class, and
Yeah, no,
I'm
too
not
much-
mentioning
too
names.
much
So like, guy's ex or something
People will
was,
be hooked into
guy's ex
it.
or something was in my class, and then they'll come and say, "Oh, listen, Coffee's sister or this person were here. Oh, he came here with his girlfriend." I'm like, I don't even know their dates. Like, and she used to tell me everything. So then now I'm like, hey. So now she's not telling me things, and then that's when, like, the tension started happening. Like,
Right.
so now I'm like, okay. And which I'm still in that phase of she's a small girl.
The
Like,
baby.
listen to me.
Yeah.
I have seen it. So that first one, I just let it go for, I think, over a year. She dated this guy fully, and then when they break up happened,
What are you talking about? We never did.
listen, whatever it is me. She'll come and sit
cry
with
on.
and come and cry.
Cry.
And the time she was crying
Yeah, man, I
and
don't
being
cry.
upset and everything about the whole thing. And then now she's telling me, oh, we're dating. And we're dating. I'm like, but you never told me this. And then when
Yeah.
I asked you, you said this. So then now I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
So.
Then now another one happened.
Yeah.
Oh, like, calm down.
No exes.
Fine, no
I don't
exes.
have any exes.
There's some other person too later on. And that one too.
So this one, if you say
That one too, same while I
Yeah.
heartbreak, something, you come to me, and then now I'm even more annoyed because I'm like, you don't listen to me.
Right.
Anyway, but that is the mindset of me being her bigger brother. It took a while for me to accept that she's a grown woman now. You understand?
Yeah.
But also, if I'm in uni and I can help you navigate the ropes and live without any blemish, because guys talk.
Okay.
Guys, relax. Guys talk, right? So
Yeah.
I wanted her to navigate the ropes in a way that she doesn't get any wahala. And this one too is not listening to me because it's like, you're sitting on my happiness. But why can I can prevent you from falling into any trouble, but then you want to test it and fall into trouble, and then at the end of the day, it's me they'll still come and talk to.
Yeah.
You understand? There was a time I fought with my girlfriend then.
Have we?
I'm not saying any detail, but there was a time I fought my girlfriend then because my girlfriend came to say something to me about her.
Yeah.
And me, I swore that it wasn't true.
Right.
Like, I was fighting with her. Like, what do you mean? It is never true. There's no way she would do that.
Yeah.
And this girl was like, I'm telling you that this is what she has done. Because she's probably heard it or seen it or has whatever evidence or someone has told her something. And
Yeah.
this is me in denial.
Right.
I can't wait to
Can
defend myself.
never do whatever they said she did.
Yeah.
And I was started looking stupid. And once again, it's my pride. It's like, my sister's my pride. Like, I want them to see him like, oh, because listen, if anything happens, like, Prema like me to like, oh, listen, myself or whatever.
So what?
Yeah, but
That's
so
what I say.
So the issue was you made it.
concerned
You
about
made
my
it
image.
right. Yeah, so you
Yeah.
made it
It
about
was
you.
so about him.
Yeah,
And
you
at
made
the
it
same
about
time, it's
you.
my sister.
But
Yeah, but
I
you made it
said-
about
I care
you.
about her.
Yes,
No, that's
I care
true.
about myself.
Yeah.
Still.
Let me explain
Like,
something.
some people still make mistakes.
No,
Yeah.
I get that. But for me, even the things you're saying are mistakes. It's just dating somebody and realizing that person is an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have told me, but it's okay. Like, it's fine. Like,
Yeah.
Let's not go into
No,
detail.
we're not going to go into detail, but I'm
yeah.
trying to draw your attention to something that
Yeah.
he made it very much about himself. It was almost as if
No,
I
it's now
let
you're
you feel
hearing
I let
that
you talk.
there's a point that was
No,
about
I
myself.
always knew
At that time,
I
you
knew.
didn't.
Let me-
Before this
allow
thing
me-
started, you were saying that I was just being protective.
No, but I'm saying, so let me say what
Yeah, you let
But
her
it
talk.
wasn't 100% about myself.
Okay, you
It
let
was a bit about myself.
No, so the
Hear me
intention
out.
was great, but you let
Hear me out.
let
What this is like a therapy.
I know.
Couples therapy.
Oh, don't touch me.
So honestly speaking, yes, then I could see later on that some of it was also about protection, but I wasn't dumb. I clocked that this is actually about, like he said, his street cred, his image. Like, and I think he also used to forget that you've come to uni, right? You have crafted a certain world for yourself,
Right.
But I've also come to uni, and I'm also figuring, like I said, this was like my first time being free, and now even understanding myself, figuring out, making the mistakes. I don't even look at those things as mistakes, right? If he had, let's even say that he said, okay, don't date anyone, just be here, and I was still there. Eventually, I would have found out. I would have.
When you're going to write
Let
exam.
me finish.
When you're going to write exam.
Kafi, when
don't
you're
they
talking,
give
I
you
did
past
not
score?
interrupt you.
Don't they give you past questions?
Listen.
Okay.
Listen.
Past questions help you prepare for an exam. You don't just go in raw.
Listen.
I had the past questions. I was telling you what to do.
Can you listen so that
Yeah.
I finish? I don't have to talk.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know that.
You're going to
that.
talk.
But you
I'm
were
just-
talking
Go
for.
on.
Listen.
Okay,
See what he's doing again.
What have I done?
So okay,
My
so
point is that my big brother didn't put that pressure on you. Why did you put that pressure on me to conform? And that's what even hurts me more, because I felt like for someone like you, who people have always tried to put you in a box and you haven't liked it, why are you also trying to put me in a certain box? Why are you also trying to, don't say anything, navigate me in a certain way when that's not the way I want to go, right? And also the thing is, again, he had a world view.
Yeah.
But that world view is because of a number of things. You are a guy. I'm a girl. You don't have the same worldview that I have, right? And so I didn't like that. And obviously he's older, so I wouldn't have even been able to explain to him, because then, in as much as I was like still very fiery and I could talk my mind and all, I hadn't really figured out how to really articulate what I need to articulate when I'm not happy about something.
Right.
So when he does those things, I'll just keep quiet. But I really didn't like it. It was like a sore spot?
Yeah.
It was like a really major sore spot for me. Because, by the way, there were also a lot of things that, like, even when he was in secondary school, he used to do that people will come and tell me, oh, your brother did this, and I won't like it, even in relation to girls, and I won't be proud of, right? The girls that he got sacked from secondary school and stuff. But I would just take it, because yeah. I will just take it.
You said some things.
Oh, I didn't know that this was. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Oh my God.
But you get what I mean? Like, okay, scrap that. But the point is, let's all, like, even the issues that he had with girls, both in secondary school and even in uni, the thing that people come and tell me, your brother did this, and I won't be proud of.
Yeah.
But I felt like he's doing his thing. It's his life, right? And sometimes I don't even ask him. You get.
Right.
So for me, it's like you the things that you are doing in this school that, like, I'm not even making a fuss about. And then you want this minor thing. It's not like I was going to school. I was going to the library like several times a week. Like, I was a good student, right? So if, like, why are you making a fuss? I really thought he was making a fuss over nothing. And so because of that, I stopped telling him things, right? And then I think that even lasted majority of the time that we were in uni. And for me, I also thought that even if you say don't date this boy, and I decide let me go and date him for whatever reason, and I even get Pepe, I'm just giving an example.
It's still your life, and
it's still
your life, yeah.
And you're still my brother. So even if Pepe enters my eye, and after that I come and I cry on you, it's okay. Like, you should be, because for me it was the same. It was kind of the same energy. You also go and do something and it doesn't turn out well. You still tell me and I'll still be there for you. And I didn't feel like I was getting that. So at some point, I actually stopped talking to him. Like, I will talk to him about everything, but that I just felt like, I'm not giving you that access. So it wasn't like I'm afraid of you or anything. It was just like, I'm not giving you that access because I don't think you can handle whatever information that I have to give. And that's how come then I switched more to telling Selom more about that part. And I honestly still think Selom handles that kind of thing better. Also because he's very I don't know if the word is not impassive. I don't know the word, like he doesn't get too emotional about it. Like, it's like, I'm listening to you, I'll still advise you, I'll still tell you, it's okay, like, this happened. And then he may even share some experience he had, whatever. But I won't feel judged, rarely, like, or even if you judge, like, we'll laugh about that. Like, why did you do this? But I still won't like tell him. And it got to a point, even up to now, he's really like the last to find out
Things.
like,
Wow.
you know, it's like because I've gotten so used to not sharing a certain aspect of my life with him. You know, I would rather go and tell someone that, oh, you know, this boy, you know, when I was unmarried, right, this guy, you know, and we'll laugh about it. But with him, I won't tell him. You know, and then one day when the thing is even in the past, you won't hear it. But half the time you won't hear.
How does he hear it?
That's what she
like,
thinks.
you won't hear.
I hear
Kiki
it.
will tell you.
No, I hear it.
How?
At
I'm talking
this
about
street.
how? In which streets?
This
I'm talking about recently. Like,
yeah, I hear it.
yeah.
But so okay, first of all, I do love how self-aware the two of you are. I mean, but you said something, you said that he's very emotional.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of those things stemmed from him being emotional, because like he would express how he feels, and I don't think he would necessarily appreciate it.
You make it about him. That's the problem.
And yes, and for someone who also just had brothers, I didn't have a sister. My brothers always made things about themselves, and they also were on the streets. So for them it was more like, I'm going
Maybe
to
I met them on the street.
maybe. So it was more about like, I'm going to help you avoid. Sometimes they always say, I'm going to help you avoid guys like us, right? And so yeah, they'll be like advising me and things like that. You mentioned something about Buju Banton and things, which was so funny to me because I remember my brother giving me a CD, right, and it was Tupac. And you know, Tupac had this song where he was dissing. Thank you. That's the song. I mean, and you know what? The second when he gave it to me, he said, I don't know why he even gave me the CD. Then he says, skip song 1. Why would I skip? Now you've piqued my interest. I'm like, I have to listen to this song. Yeah. So then I listened to it, and you know the funny thing, I don't even know how old I was, but I don't think I was old enough to really know that it was like a bad song. I just knew there were bad words, but I didn't really, you know, but then now I'm like, okay, so this is what a bad song sounds like, this, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And for him, when I told him that I had listened to it later on, I mean, years later, he was like, he essentially said, skip song 1. And he said he knew I would listen to it, right? And he kind of wanted me to be exposed to things, but not act on the things.
Yeah.
You know, which was, I mean, for me, like, it was just like, I don't know, it was just very interesting. But I know it's always coming from a good place. And for him, I mean, you know, it's coming from a good place. I love the fact that he even said, I love my sister and things like that.
It's like
the
second time.
No, it's true.
He's forgetting that before those things happened, me and him were in the street together. And we used to share notes. Then we did street together. She doesn't remember, but I don't know. Then we did street together. We did compare notes. Just got to a point. I just started feeling like, listen, if we've been in the street together, you know that like we've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that this one navigated well. She thought I was trying, and I was never saying that don't be with this person. I was just saying, be careful. This is not somebody that you should. He's lying to you, or he's probably trying to paint a picture. But I get it. I mean, she's lived life. She's enjoyed it. Once she doesn't regret it, then I probably was overreacting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I even think that sometimes he was also over
protective.
No. Like he was also overthinking maybe my investments in that. Do you understand?
Okay.
Again, I can't say certain things.
Yeah.
Like some of the things, it's like it's not really that deep.
Yeah.
You're in the street. We're in the street. Whereas he's thinking that, oh my God, I think that this is my husband. No.
Yeah.
Like you get. And so at some point, I think maybe that was what I didn't do well. Like I just literally removed his access to that info completely. You understand? So maybe
I was about to say, but he said he's still.
he thinks he was, but
you have no idea. And that was the thing that used to vex me, because I was hearing it a lot. Like I really am there, like I'm out there, like I know all these people and they know their friends, and some of them even forget that the thing that I know, the thing that I'm familiar with, whatever is happening.
Trust me, you didn't know.
And then they'll be telling me this happened, and then or they'll be talking about it, and then I'll be there, and then they just think that I'm aware, and then I'm not aware. But then
maybe he is aware.
No, but those times I never he asked me, and I was like, that's not even true.
No.
So the things he thinks he knew were probably just lost.
It got to a point when it got to a point. That's when I realized that I've been cut off. Like that's when I realized that I don't know, because she used to tell me like everything detail. So it got to a point when I heard the thing. So I got to a point that like, I asked her a few times, and then she said, "This is not it." And I realized that no, they are not giving me info anymore, and I don't think I'll ever get the info anymore. So then now when I hear it, I just
Yeah.
I would just act like, please. It's not. I even told the people that I beg you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I beg you, I don't
Yeah.
know. But then I was hearing it
Because
everywhere.
for me, most of what he was hearing, even you know how boys talk, that one is true. Like most of the things were even rumors. The real info.
There's so many things I've heard. I've never asked there.
Wow.
Plenty things.
I was going to say, ask me one here, but no.
Yeah.
I bet
There's so many things. Even like after we finished uni and we're working, the things I still heard, but
Wow.
I mean, when we say it that way, it sounds like maybe I was doing some
No, it's not
scandalous.
anything serious.
No,
But I'm just saying
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it has gone to a point, especially from uni. I just knew that okay, now Norvisi won't tell me some things again, and then me too. There's some things too I won't tell. So then everybody is just minded. We meet and then we talk about basic stuff. But then still, I'll be in town and I'll hear it somewhere. I'll hear something, and then I just know that I can't even bring it to her to ask her because we are not on those things. So I just
But you can sell him. He knows everything.
I just
And you can
let it
speak
go.
as
You
well.
understand?
Yeah. So like, okay, so moving on from not sharing, your secrets and things like that, like how did you guys go back to like bonding? And because I feel like you guys are close now.
I think we're still close, or
I think we bond on a very mature level now.
Okay.
I still think it's not like before.
okay.
Oh no! Norvisi is my sister. Like we talk about things, like, but I mean, there are still some things I won't say to her because of it.
Because of
Yeah, and also I know there's still some things too that she would not say to me.
Okay.
Because even like until I knew before she got married, I even knew who she was. I knew like the guy, like
Yeah.
But by the time I knew him, my brother knew him.
Okay.
Do you understand? Yeah, no. You said I had spoken to him, or
no.
no? You had
Not
told.
for this.
No, you
This
had
one
told,
is an exception.
You had told Saloma about him.
No, this one
Are you sure?
this one is actually an exception.
Okay.
But because I was in town.
No, so what happened was that, like he said, he and his wife are very close.
Okay.
In fact, to be very honest, some of the things that I don't tell him, I forget about him. Excuse me. Like so, it's not even that I'm deliberately not telling him because he and his wife are so close. Like my big brother always says that she knows where all the bodies are buried. Literally, like I haven't killed anybody, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so what happens is that maybe I'm in their house and last night I'm giving her the scoop about something and we are laughing. So I've forgotten that I've not told him.
Right.
So it's almost like she's like my sister, like my additional sister.
Okay.
So I end up telling her a lot of things and then I forget that he doesn't know. So one day we're all chatting and then maybe she refers
And
to
she
something.
won't tell me too.
Oh, but that's actually good. I'm happy she's that way.
Yeah, we're very close.
I mean, sometimes she might lose talk and hint something, and then I'll.
And even when she hints, it's things that
But she won't tell me.
they are not the
she's very,
secrets.
like,
Yeah.
okay, Norvisi told me she's not asking to tell you. Yet.
Yeah.
Even when my niece Della tells her things, she doesn't tell me. Sometimes I probe her and then yeah.
So he's usually the last person to find out, right? But I even lost my train of thought. So I was saying that now it's not even like I'm trying to be secret. What am I trying to be secretive about, right? But it's just a thing that happens. I spend a lot of time with her. We're like always together, and then sometimes we really just forget, right? But on the my husband one, this was an exception.
Okay.
So what had happened was, and I've shared the story about how I was talking to him, and then he said something. He said he doesn't see himself settling down.
Okay.
And I mean, I just felt like at that point I was dating intentionally. So if you know that you are here to be in the streets, then
it's not for you.
Peace out, And then I was talking to someone else.
Okay.
Right. And so I think one day I had told her, I was either on the phone with her and I was telling her something that he did. So he did, because we're still friends.
Okay.
And me and her were laughing about it. And I was like, this guy cry. And then she was joking that you be there. By now he has engaged you in his head. Like, by now you people are, married in his head. And we were laughing about it. And then he asked her, which boy are you guys talking about?
Okay.
And then we were, laughing about it and we didn't want to say. And then she just, some guy did, but it looks like Norvisi is not interested. And then I think there was even a photo. Like I had sent her a photo, so we're discussing it. And so he said, what photo? And so he looked at the photo and Kiki was telling him about how the guy is like, he's super like funny and he's like, he's very hyper and things.
I've not met him in person, but he seems funny.
Just the description, he's like, I like this guy. And I said, then go and be with him. And we kept laughing about it, And then after that, me and Tony became closer, just still as friends. And sometimes when I go to their house and he's asking me, how's that your friend, the hyper one, the funny one, Tony? I'll say, he's fine, I've not spoken to me in a while. And then this guy becomes giving me some whole pep talk about how, marriage, you have to be with somebody who you find interesting. And I'll be like, how did we even get married? Like, I'm not even dating the guy.
But we're also getting to a point where I was
Sounds like I'm
sadly
old.
no, I was sadly trying to get Norvisi to tell me things.
I didn't know that.
Not necessarily maybe bear it all to me, but
Yeah.
we'd had fights about this whole thing when she pulled away.
Yeah.
So then now I was very cautious when she comes to tell me, "Oh, I'm with this person." I was very like cautious about how I respond to it. So there was like every ex after uni when she comes to tell me, or every friend
Yeah,
after
friend.
I would be very accommodating,
Yeah.
even be nice to them and not say anything judgmental, but I also won't go into the detail or try and probe into the relationship.
Right.
I would just so that she'll feel comfortable telling me, and I think gradually, like she was warming up
funny
again, but
enough,
she
that's
still
I wasn't
doesn't
even
go
with him
into
To
detail.
you
details.
know, but that pep talk actually did help, right?
Okay.
Because, like I've said time and again that he wasn't like my typical type, right? And I actually think they're very similar. That's probably why they get along. So
Okay.
what his little understanding of who Tony was, he'll be like, honestly speaking, I think you're overthinking it. I think that this guy is a sensible guy, and really don't think that because he's funny, happy go lucky, he's always making jokes, it means that maybe he's not serious in life, right? And he was likening it to himself that he's actually also very funny, right? Like, look at me, I'm very like hyper, I'm very playful and all of that, but when it's like serious stuff,
I get serious. Yeah.
serious. And really, he even started using, I think, the whole was it COVID. Imagine if you were stuck working from home with a husband who was too serious and stuff like that. Like, you'll be bored, and you laugh about it a bit. So it made me start thinking that perhaps I need to take a step back and like look at this person with like
Differently.
different eyes, right?
Yeah.
So that helped. But then I was even with the person, and
You owe
he
me.
didn't have any real details, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I think I liked how he handled that. He was putting his mouth in my business, really.
But
I
helped
let
in the
him.
end.
I let him, and yeah, that helped. And yeah,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
one-
So that's really how you guys started to kind of like
Have a chat.
maybe repair your relationship in a way. Not
I don't even think our relationship was necessarily spoiled. I think it was also a coming of age for both of us. Like me trying to figure out what kind of a partner I need. Because, sometimes your brothers think that they know the kind of partner that is good for you.
right.
I've had like my big brother introduced me to somebody.
Okay.
And I hope he doesn't watch this, but it's because he had an idea that this guy is a good guy. Like he's this, he's that. But after talking for some time, I really quickly realized that this is not my guy. Like, no disrespect to him if he ever sees this, but
I don't know he's the one you're talking about.
no, I'm talking about you. I'm talking
No,
about
I mean that guy.
Oh, how will you don't know? He will know. That's the only person that Salom had. I'm sure Salom is laughing if he ever watched it. Introduced me to. But it just wasn't, so I realized that because they have an idea of what a good guy should be. So it's like, I don't know, maybe it was a guy on shish suits and like talks in a certain way or is doing some, I don't know, some specific kind of career or whereas maybe that's not. Whereas that's not even the kind of person that you want or you need, right? And so for me, I think I just needed. I don't think we had a broken relationship. I think I just needed to figure things out for myself.
I actually meant the two of you.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I was just using Salom to illustrate.
Yeah.
I just needed to figure things out for myself, and I didn't want that talking in my ear, and I didn't want him to be making it about himself. So I think, and I was also reclaiming my power. Like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm a madam myself, that kind of thing. Which, I mean, my brother still said I'm their baby sister. So
okay, I mean, I kind of want to wrap it up now.
Yeah.
And talk about career, right? I feel like anyone who's watching this would want me to ask this question, so I have to ask. The two of you worked in a particular company. Can I mention a name?
Yeah.
Okay, so both of you worked at Twitter. And I think the misconception out there is that when you got in, then you brought her in.
it's like that.
That's not how
Okay.
it works. It's almost traditional.
Yeah.
It can never work like that.
Okay.
So let me take this. So what happened was that Twitter came, published their vacancies and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people applied for different roles, right? So I think he had even applied for something else, and maybe for some reason didn't get that. And I had also applied for this research role, and I was already in the process, right? So I think this was like maybe April or something.
Okay.
Something between March and April.
Okay.
So I was already in the process, but for some reason, the teams work differently.
Okay.
There were different teams. Okay. And so my process took really long.
Okay.
And then at some point during my process, maybe a couple of months in, maybe I think like 4 or 5 months in, right? He got contacted as well by a headhunter looking to fill another role, which I think they didn't even publish. They didn't publish that role when they were first hiring.
Okay.
And that role was like a perfect fit for him. Okay. And so when he went through his process went much quicker. And then when he went through his process, at the time he wasn't working in corporate. Okay. So if they say, can you start next month? He's like, I can start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Kinda. Whereas for me, I have to do 3 months notice and all of that. So for and so he started earlier, but I did start my interviews before.
Okay.
And I mean, I heard all of those things, but me, like, my style career wise, because I'm a researcher, so a lot of things are like very tight-lipped. I really didn't. We used to see it and laugh, but I was like, let them say it's okay. Like, it doesn't really change anything. But a lot of people were saying, nepotism and he brought me in. But that's just not even how it works in any multinational. Yeah. Right? But for me personally, I didn't care. I just let them have, okay, if that's what you think.
But both of you...
Like we were on a call. Mm-hmm. There was a call we were on. And then I mentioned that that's my sister on the call too. And they were all shocked. Yeah.
Wow. My team knew though.
But it's like... Fine, we had the same surnames, but they are Americans.
They didn't
think that. They just think it's a common name, right?
And it was like the big word, literally
like a
the only
Jones or something
siblings in the entire like Twitter. And by the way, when he got in and he was doing his interviews and stuff, I didn't also mention it because, again, first of all, I didn't know what
no one wanted to jinx.
So we didn't want to jinx it, right?
She started a conversation long before me.
Okay.
So I was like rooting for her. I'm like, oh my god, like you. Yeah. You're about to get to that job, not rooting for it. And people used to always tell me that apply. And I remember I did send an application for a specific role.
Okay.
So like some communications role. And the 8 years automatically sent me a rejection the next day. I'm like, you people have pushed me. I have to go and do this. Please let me go back to my entrepreneurship. And then, so now I was excited for her that, like, she's actually going to get a Twitter job. I was even bragging about it. Hey, my sister. So she was talking to the recruiter for a long time, back and forth. And then I was there one day and I got an email for a specific role, like she said, that was created. Like, I think they had put it out and then they had talked to a lot of people in Ghana and Nigeria. They couldn't find, and they took it down. Okay. And then now they sent a headhunter and the person came to find me. So it felt like my profile fitted. So then now when I told them that, hey, like, Twitter has contacted me, then I started my conversations.
We're very excited.
And then we started comparing notes. That was amazing. So when they make an offer, and I look and I tell her what they gave me, and then we go back and forth, and we'll inch it up a bit, like, we'll fight.
Give you this.
We'll fight the recruiter, go back and forth, and until then I got my offer first because they said, when can you start?
I think they even needed it like ASAP.
Yeah, they're like, this is the first hire. They needed a person like ASAP. I said, I can start Monday.
Yeah.
So okay, and then they put it through, and they even announced it's like on their pages. So then now, like, the whole Ghana now knew that, like, and then she had not even signed.
Yeah, okay.
She was still going back and forth with them. So, but we had decided that there's no need for me to now go and say, hey, my sister too is going through. Because imagine I go and say it, and then
they realize
they say that
siblings. Because some companies are like
that. Some companies are like that, yeah.
So she went through the process regularly, like she's doing her thing.
Yeah.
And then later on, like I think a month after, she had signed, and then now she started like a month.
I didn't even start because, again, I was working in a corporate, and so I needed to do like 3 months notice. So I then had to start at the end of the year.
It
was at the end of the year because I like to do my notice period. Okay. So I'm not just going to abruptly like stop because I work in a corporate, right? But I think like what helped was not saying anything. And in fact, later on when we told Twitter, they were very excited, but they still say actually maybe it would have biased them. And they were so shocked. They were like, what are the odds that they've interviewed hundreds of people for each role? Thousands actually for each role. I'm sorry, I mean like thousands of people have applied for each role. Yeah. And what are the odds that two like siblings? So they kept asking me, do you guys have the same parents? I'm like, yeah. And so for like I feel like the first couple of months, it was like an opening of almost every call. What's her name? Like the the global leader would always say, "Oh, and we have, Bernard and his sister," and people were always like, "Oh my God,"
So everyone was mentioning Meister because you were the first recruits.
And
I've
also
always wanted to understand.
Also because of my role.
Okay.
My role was a very front-facing role. My
Okay.
role, I was supposed to deal with what they call VITs, very important tweeters, like celebrities, public figures, musicians. Like, I was dealing with everybody that was out there, like, loud. So if I do anything even behind closed doors and I help someone, like, even unlock their account, the person will come online and come and tweet to the followers that, "Oh, Meister help," and the person might have like 300,000 followers. So it was like I was in the face, like everybody.
Even a KPI, it was like
But
a KPI.
yeah, it was like a KPI. Like
that's how his role is designed.
there was even a budget that they had put aside right before the Elon thing that they were coming to spend money to amplify me, like do PR about me, so that when I probably maybe go to Zambia or anywhere, they would welcome me like as that face of Twitter who is supporting celebrities, because famous people would only engage with you if they feel like
like a scammer or something.
they need to trust that you are like legit. So they were going to do PR to sort of make me famous too, so that I can easily walk into rooms. Like I remember there was a guy who was doing sports in the US, TJ, and he hangs out with his NBA players, like. He's sitting front row with them, like the playoffs and stuff like that. And it's just because of his role, he's in the box with them. Like, you have to be. They have to put you forward.
Yeah.
My sister's role
That's how your role is designed.
was never a role
role
that
is like
she's
hush.
doing research on the continent. She does the paperwork and then passes it. There's no time that, unless they're doing maybe like women in Twitter or something, but there's no time that they would come and like front face or
they used to do that, but again it was internal. So for example, if you went to do some research, I don't know, in Kano, and then you publish some insights, it will get to you still get the exposure you need, but at a very high level. But those reports are internal and they're confidential. Plus, even now, like as a strategy and insights person, it's confidentiality is just a thing. It's like it's part of your the way you work.
Yeah.
So people had a problem on my behalf, and I'm like, I have no problem. And also, it's my brother. Like, I'm rooting for him. I'm happy that he is front and center. They're like, but why don't you go online and dispel the notion that he got you? And I'm like, don't disturb my salary. Like, pay me. Like, every month I get my salary. I'm happy. Like, I don't need any of that, right? I really don't. Like, I really couldn't be. It didn't bother me. It looks like it was something that was not.
Okay. I don't even want to say government, but it's not one of those institutions.
Government,
yeah.
And you know, when we had our conversation, right? People were surprised when I said I did I think it was 10 interviews.
Yes.
People were like, because in some people's minds, it's like, but we just thought that your brother went.
Yes, and then
maybe he just sent a text and then next day. No, I did a lot of interviews, had to do presentations. It was I think my interview process was probably more extensive
than his,
right? Because with him, they could go online, look at, some of the things he's done in the past. He just had to do 1 or 2. But with research, I had to do a lot of the heavy stuff, present case studies and
prove yourself,
prove myself, or that kind of thing.
Right. Okay. No, I love that. And the fallout, how was that for you guys?
Which fallout?
The takeover.
Yeah, what was that like for you guys? How did you guys deal with that as siblings, and then also
siblings,
and also
okay, I think I have a story. So what happened was I put my phone on Do Not Disturb at a certain time every night.
Okay.
Yeah, my family hates it. And so I was the last to find out. And it's so funny because I was also the only person who had just gone to the office. I'm not an early bird. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not the person who wants to work at 8 a.m. But the day before, I was I even sent a report the night before when everybody was worried. I'm doing my job, right? So that the morning off, my phone was still on Do Not Disturb. I'd gotten to the car park of the Atlantic Tower. And then I turned on my phone and my messages going off, and I look through, I see a number of strange numbers that I didn't recognize, but I decided to go read his message first because he's my brother, right? So I open it and he says, "Are you okay?" I said, "Are you okay?" fine. Like, what's wrong? Then he's like, like literally, he's like, like, don't you know? I said, don't I know? And I even make a joke that why? Then fire all of us or something. And he literally says, yeah, like, don't you know? And I think because he's always joking, I think he's joking. So I do like
Joking.
LOL and I move to the next message.
Yeah.
So I move to the next message and it's my boss. And my boss had never messaged me on WhatsApp.
what's up?
Everybody messages on Slack. So I'm like, why is my boss and so many other people messaging me on WhatsApp? And there's something says, go check your Slack. I check my Slack and I no longer have access. And I open my computer and I have access. So I said, okay, and there's people that they've done. So I'm in front of the office. So I go up, my access works. I go to my desk. But somehow, the way a lot of people are, messaging and stuff, I figured that, okay, this is going to come. So I log in thinking, okay, let me try and like download pay slips and whatnot. And within, I think it was when you log into the office internet, and then I'm sure you've all heard like the screen blanks out and then they enter or whatever, they kind of log you out.
Yes.
And then that was kind of, for me, that was how we
Found out.
right? But again, at some point, me and Bernard Kafu, you see, I'm calling him Bernard now because at some point we could separate it. Like, okay, when we are working together, it's Bernard, and then when he's my brother, it's Kafu. So I think we're really professional, and we could separate it. Sometimes he would like be goofing a little at the office or doing my babysitter. And I'm like, I'm not a babysitter.
Yes.
Respect me, like, kind of.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think that it wasn't very difficult to work together. Also because of the way Twitter at the time was working. Like, everybody was working in a vertical, right? So even though I work with him sometimes, it wasn't that like every day, like I'm working with him, right? I'm working with his team. So I'm still, whatever I do is still helping his team. But he has his colleagues and I have my colleagues. So, it wasn't anything uncomfortable.
I think I only had one direct call with you.
Like just
Now I was like catching up when you joined, but
all the other calls were like every
So like
she has a team, research team all the way into US and other countries.
Right.
I have my partner team all the way into US and other countries. Yes.
Okay. So I mean, what I'm going to get from this is you guys were there for each other when all that happened. Okay.
But even like just on the side, as let's even say we're not siblings, right? I was saying online last time that I think that people need to be more open about sharing like salary information.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I think both of us were able to get a really good package was because we were sharing. Like, forget that we're even siblings. It's because we're open enough to say. Like,
and before that, she has never told me her salary from fan.
That was the first time.
I don't even think she told me her for the month. She hinted, but she never told me.
That was the first time, so it was uncomfortable for me.
I mean, my salary is always open to everybody. Not public, but
really? To her.
It's not my salary. Really? I mean, if I was not my salary.
Okay, but I think it's just a habit of like I never really give those details. That's how my mother was.
Yeah.
So I think I just kind of picked that up. But with this particular one, I think it was awesome that we did because we literally, it was like if we were all around the same place when we started, it was just like inch, like it just kept going down because, I mean, not to say we gamed them, but it was really just because we were open enough to say, but how come they offer you this? Or is it a team related thing? And then we go and ask, like, okay.
And when they do something for her, I know that, then it's possible.
Exactly.
I also go back and I say, okay, so why don't you guys do this? And they'll come, okay, that's possible.
Yeah.
And there's even some other benefits that when I joined, and then they now added it like later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also give to her too later on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good.
So now today, are you guys cool? Like, what's there?
That's all with her.
Yes, with her.
Oh, I mean, cool. I tolerate her. That's what I'm saying. I tolerate her. I don't impose that big brother thing on her anymore because.
Yeah,
she's a very opinionated person, and like that one, I've grown to see that this guy has like 99 opinions about something.
Yeah.
So she's not somebody that if something I feel like something is right and she has a. I just let it go, but yeah.
But I think that especially because of like something that happened recently, I can't maybe go into the details because of all the documents I've been signing. But I think that he's also beginning to appreciate that even though we're similar, we're different, and the fact that maybe I'm a certain way doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. And I'm also beginning to appreciate that about him. So, like he said, I can be not even just opinionated. I think that I'm very strong-willed on some things, right? So I can't give this
Yeah,
Yeah.
I let things go.
He's like, oh, let's just let it go, right? And sometimes I will also let
Novisi
something
is
go.
like, let's
But
fight
for
to the
me,
end.
I like when there's something that's based on a very strong principle.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
can't let it. It's just no
Even
need to let it
even
go.
Twitter severance thing.
Mm-hmm.
When they sent the first offer of our severance, I was gonna sign and just move on with my life.
What?
And then she started. She in fact rallied us together and started saying, "No,
Fights
we have to
the
compare.
death.
We have to see what." And then so she unionized us, and then we
Right.
started fighting it. And she was like with the lawyer, like every time. They even bonded and became like friends.
Yeah.
But me, when it happened first, I saw the first offer. I remember that day I was outside. I saw it. I was thinking in the morning I'll sign it and send it to them. Like I wasn't ready to fight it. I'm like that.
Yeah.
I always say that if I'm even purchasing, let's say, property, I'd rather buy an estate house that is in an estate gated. If
Easy,
any
like,
wahala, I just go to the estate
life's
people
easy.
and either they'll replace the house for me or something. I'm not someone that will go and buy raw land.
What? Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
husband.
I won't
Okay.
do it because I don't want. I feel like someone comes and say, "This is my land, litigation, but land guards." I don't have.
It doesn't have it.
I
Yeah.
don't have a
that
means to
energy.
pursue it. I feel like I might walk away from it and say,
You let them
Take
let
it.
it go.
and it will piss me off. So I avoid those kind of things. Like,
Yeah.
even when I'm buying a car, like I'm very big on energy. Like I'll talk to the person, no matter how nice the car is. If I feel like me and the person buying the car, there's energy is off. I'm really big on energy. Like even renting things, like
Yeah.
renting a space for my office or a house or something. When I talk to the landlord,
Yeah.
no matter how nice the place is, the way I relate to the landlord, when I finish having a conversation, on my way back, I would know whether I'll take the place. Or
Like even during that whole process where we were trying to get what we wanted, like fight for our rights, right? There was a time that, to be honest, he used to irritate me.
Okay.
Because I felt like he was literally like the most nonchalant. Like he's like, I mean, I don't want the stress. Like, and I'm like, no, we're doing this as a group, so. Or you have to come to this meeting. You have to get on this. So it was a bit exhausting. But luckily, because he's my brother and I know how he operates,
You know him.
I have to just take it as even in my family, they see me as the person who fights for the
justice. Like,
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah,
right? Or
yeah.
who is advocating for everyone. Sometimes it's exhausting because then who's advocating for
For
you?
you.
But then I just have to say that this is this guy. Like he's my sibling. I know how he is. So let me just do my thing. And then eventually when we got what
there's
we
nothing I
needed,
can't walk away from. That's how I am.
yeah. And me too, I
I
can't.
protect my peace a lot. So
True.
no matter how much money it is, like I can walk away from it if it's to give me peace.
For me, it's not even about money. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's a bigger. It's not about money.
Yeah.
And there's an example that would have really like illustrated it. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I can't use that example, right? But the point is that for me, if I see it, like I can't stop if I feel like this thing is a matter of principle, and especially when I feel like this affects. If I don't talk about it, this would affect other people.
Yeah.
It's just who I am.
Yeah.
Almost like how with him, he's like his brain is always bubbling with ideas. Like, okay,
He can't
literally
turn
a
it off.
walking, talking idea machine.
Yeah.
That's the same way that for me, if there's one thing that I feel is a matter of principle and it affects other people, if I let it go, I just can't. I've just accepted that this is who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that over time we're
Who did you
beginning
take
to.
that from? None of our parents are like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could have been something in my childhood.
I don't. think
I'm the same way. So yeah. Okay, nice. I mean, thank you guys so much. This was, I don't even know what my expectations were, but then you guys have exceeded it, honestly.
Can you cut out the scandalous?
Let's go. We'll see. But thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for the next script for the next Ghanaian movie.